Welcome back. Former Botswana President Ian Khama says that he's not a fugitive since he is not running away from justice. Khama is currently in South Africa after he fled the neighboring country. He has been slapped with charges in relation to unlawful possession of firearms in Botswana. He has since described the charges as trumped up and form part of persecution he has suffered at the hands of Botswana. Khama maintains that all his firearms are licensed. Attempts to reach the Botswana government were not successful. SABC News reporter Khayelihle Khumalo asked former President Khama if he will ever go back home.
This whole thing about the weapons that I have are looked after by the intelligence service of the country who provide me protection. They put them away, they keep a record of them, they renew their licenses. So isn't it so ridiculous that the same organization whose personnel look after my weapons are the same ones who are saying they want to charge me with having those weapons in my possession? That's what it's like.
And maybe just to come in, Mr. President, do you think you will ever appear in court? We saw the matter was postponed to June. Will you appear in court?
Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see, because these charges, as I have said, are totally trumped up. Masisi himself was shown the charges for his approval. Where does it happen that a president would preside over wanting to look at the charges? If there's any example of something being politically motivated, that is it. Even that affidavit I've just referred to, which was false, he personally presided over that affidavit and actually made an amendment. The amendment he made was, when they brought it to him, they said, let's say he stole 100 million pula. And he said, no, make it 100 billion pula. That is the extent to which it went. So when people are supposed to go and do their work on their own without any political interference, and the man himself says, bring them to me, I want to see and approve them. That is what happened. So like I said, it was not coincidence that all this thing was designed to be done just before the binational, the day before the binational. So that when he came here and maybe faced questions from President Ramaphosa or the media, they would feel that no, they shouldn't. If they were supporting me, they should withdraw the support, because here I am being charged with having weapons in my possession. So it wasn't coincidence. In fact, they are the ones, I would like to assure you, who are the criminals in this situation. I've just talked about the perjury. Let me go on to say that, my family, they have been carrying out illegal detentions of a number of people in the country. And Masisi vowed about a year and a half ago that the family of Sir Seretse Khama, my father, must be driven out of Botswana. They must not get any employment opportunities in the country. They must be locked up and even eliminated. So let's see what's happened. There are about, I think I worked it out the other day, there are about 18 of us. His family, my brothers, my sister, and other descendants. Of that 18, 13 of us, 13 are outside Botswana at this moment in time. A year ago, we were all inside the country. 13 of us are outside. Locking up 3 of my family members, 2 of my brothers and 1 of their wives, was detained, locked up a few weeks ago. You heard that about. And in my case, they have made 3 attempts to eliminate me. 3 attempts. And the proof of that is the fact that a whistleblower has told me there were 3 diplomatic communications which spoke to it, and it is something that I have reported to United Nations, who confronted the regime in Botswana to investigate, which they didn't do. I have called for an independent inquiry, which they haven't taken up, because I know that this independent inquiry would expose them. And even whilst I've been here in South Africa, I have been shown a report which indicates that Masisi's dream is to have me eliminated before the next elections in Botswana because he sees me as the biggest obstacle to his re-election.
And just, Mr. President, obviously all of this just happened on the eve of the Binational Commission meeting between the two heads of state.
Right.
Where does this put bilateral relations between South Africa and Botswana? I mean, these are neighbors and obviously strong trading partners, but here you are, you're caught up right in the middle. Do you see this ending? Because it's a long-standing problem. Others call it a feud, others call it you're not seeing eye to eye with your successor. Are we ever going to see the end of this chapter?
Well, let me first touch on the issue of the good relations. And I think it would have come out yesterday that they were talking about good relations. You tell me, as a South African, when a neighboring state accuses your financial institutions, private and the Reserve Bank, of money laundering in a false fabricated affidavit, how does that contribute to good relations? I hope that it could have been raised at some stage with Masisi to say, why did you accuse South African banks and our Reserve Bank of money laundering? That is an extremely unfriendly move, and especially now as it has been proven to have been fabricated, that the government of Botswana would go to that extent of implicating your financial institutions in crime. And like I said, it's not me saying so. It's there in black and white. The affidavit is there, you can get hold of it. The judgment of the High Court is there, you can get hold of it. So I would like to believe sometimes when you're standing there in front of the cameras, you're going to say that no, relations are good, we've come from far, and so on like that, because you wouldn't tend to say anything else. It wouldn't be diplomatic to do so. But I know, because I've been here for some time and I've met a lot of South Africans, and they have told me all is not right. Businessmen who go to Botswana, South African businessmen who say to me they really are so saddened by how things have deteriorated in that country, how we see businesses closing in that country and people wanting to leave purely because the political climate is toxic, which has been made so by Masisi. As to how we bring it to an end, there have been several attempts I can reveal to you by both within the country and outside the country, by even one or two heads of state outside the country, and by elders, both his party elders, clergy and so on, but they have been rebuffed by him.
Well, this is Khayelihle Khumalo speaking with the former president of Botswana, Ian Khama, who is currently in South Africa. That's it for this hour. More news coming up at the top of